I wanted to talk about how in these modern days and times, due to how we have social media, which is one distraction, and second of all, how we have cell phones. A lot of people nowadays refer to them as smartphones. How it's virtually impossible to make friends with people. Because, for instance, how many of you may have been out and about, where they may have been either at the laundromat, the bank, grocery store, gas station, and may have happened to be either in line at the grocery store, gas station, a restaurant, or be at the laundromat, just sitting just to a total perfect stranger as you was trying to wait on your laundry to finish washing and drying, and you was to strike up a conversation, a random conversation with a random stranger, only for them to do all they can to be all standoffish towards you or give you one word responses. In some cases, they ignore you and look at their phones the whole time, which is a perfect example of how in these modern days and times it is so hard to make friends. Or how often have you tried to be friendly towards a neighbor in a neighborhood? It could be your very first time moving into an area, and it just so happened one particular person or family in one of the homes in your new neighborhood may have tried to do all may have initiated being friendly towards you by introducing themselves to you first and foremost and asking for your name. So came the next day or so, you was to go outside, spot those same neighbors or that same neighbor, and was to head to your car to go somewhere, and you may have been friendly enough to wave at that person, only for them to ignore you, just totally ignore you, or frown up at you. And this is another example of how in these days and times, ladies and gentlemen, it's like it's virtually almost impossible to make friends with other people. Or how about going to church, and you may have been in church service worshiping the Lord. And church, just from my understanding, thanks so far for all the people who have joined my lives so far. I really appreciate you for joining. You may have been in church service while worshiping the Lord, and it just so happened when it came time to fellowship, the pastor may have suggested that everybody was to get up, fellowship with one another, introduce themselves to each other. So you may have happened to introduce yourself first, pull out your hand to shake hands with that fellow church member of yours, only for them to look at their phone the whole time, only for them to pretty much ignore you the whole time, or give you some kind of funny look like you may be something from outer space. Once again, this is another example of how it's virtually impossible in these days and times to make friends with other people. And how many times have you been at work and you may have been on your job for, I would say, 2 years, and it just so happened it may have been that one brand new employee or multiple brand new employees who may have just started working at the same workplace. You may have been nice to introduce yourself to every last one of them, only for them to be all standoffish towards you, to be all cold towards you. As a matter of fact, you may be lucky to even have one who would be nice enough to tell you their names, because we live in a society nowadays where let me roll up my windows, because somebody just pulled up next to me in the parking lot I'm in. Anyway, we live in a society nowadays whereas if you ask for a person's name after introducing yourself, people take offense to that. People have gotten so weird nowadays to the point where you can't even much ask for a person's name, or may wonder, why do you want to know their name? Yet and still, it may be a person who you may have to deal with seeing on a regular basis at work. And instead of, to make matters even worse, that person, instead of introducing them to yourselves, asking for your name after being nice enough to introduce yourself to them, they may go and ask another person who may have been working on the same job for X amount of months a year. It's due to the simple fact of how instead of them coming out and asking what your name is, they may have most likely went and either asked somebody else what's your name, or may have overheard someone refer to you by your actual name. I'm telling you, people are so strange and weird in these times of days, to the point where it's virtually impossible making friends with other people. And due to how you have so many strange people in this world, so many standoffish people in this world, and thanks to cell phones, which has made matters even worse, thanks to social media, we have so many people in this world who feel like you're not entitled to make friends with them, or the only way they'll be willing to make friends with you is, number one, is if you have something in common with them. For instance, if they may be a heavy smoker, or they may be either marijuana or cigarettes. If not that, they may be a heavy drinker, or they may part on a frequent basis. Then in some cases, people feel like you're worthy of becoming friends with them. Or if not, one of those kind of instances, they had to be someone who you may have been knowing for a long time. You know, may have went to school with, and may have made friends when at school. Therefore, you may have been long time friends with them already on behalf of school, or either playing on some kind of team with them, where they may have been either soccer team, baseball team, football team, basketball team. I could go on and on. If they may have known you already on behalf of those kind of circumstances. If not that, you may have to be some kind of close family member of theirs in order for them to strike up a conversation with you and be friendly towards you on a regular basis. Only under those circumstances is it that much more easier to make friends. Other than that, so many people have gotten, like I said, much more weirder, if that's a such word, much more strange or stranger, much more aloof, due to, I would say, a big part of it is social media. Another part of it will be because of smartphones. The other reason will be because of the pandemic. All three of those reasons why. And to be honest, whether you know it or not, we were much more, I feel like we were just as more standoffish towards each other before the pandemic happened. If you know what I mean by the pandemic, due to how social media has had so many people so divided amongst each other, has had people so standoffish towards one another, so aloof towards one another as well. Anyways, I'm going to end this here live stream because I already have proved my point enough. And like I always, make sure to like, share, comment, last and not least, subscribe to the channel. And I'm out.